Welcome back to Retirement Wealth Planning with Dave Mortash. I'm Michelle Wright. Let me give you our phone number here. It's 877-GAINS-4U. That's 877, the word GAINS, the number 4, the letter U, and the website, mortashfinancial.com. That's M as in Mandy, ORTACH financial.com. And we are joined on the program today by national best-selling author Patrick Kelly. And we're having a fantastic conversation. And Dave, I know you have more questions for Patrick.
Oh, yeah. When you've got one of the leading authorities on retirement on your show, of course I do. So, Patrick, here's another one. Looking at the stock market recently, despite the volatility, overall gains have been made, although this year a little shaky. What's your advice for people who still have a majority of their retirement nest egg, or God forbid, all of their nest egg in the stock market?
Get out! Okay.
Gosh, that's what I say. Wow.
So, no, I wanted that for shock effect, but I really wanted that on there because I'll tell you, folks, and I love analogies. I love stories. I think people can understand that. But let me ask you this. If you we've gone through the last 6 years of significant stock market gains. Markets don't go just one way. As we saw back in 08 and 09, they took some very deep plunges. But it's not unlike, in my opinion, sitting, and I love the gambling analogy when you're talking about the market because I think there's more overlap than people see. If you were sitting, let me just ask you, picture yourself here, if you're driving in your car or at home listening to this, if you're sitting at a blackjack table and you just went 60 minutes, 1 hour, without ever having a losing hand, what do you think's coming? Now, you don't know if it's the next hand or the next fifth hand or what, but you know a losing. And if all of a sudden you just keep betting bigger and bigger and bigger because, man, I can't lose, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose big. And a matter of fact, in my first chapter of the book, Stress Free Retirement, that you're giving away today, Dave, I have a story about that where I watched a young man lose a lot of money very quickly at a blackjack table because he won, and then he lost. And I really do mean, now, when I say get out, here's the cool thing about the products and the strategies and stuff that, Dave, that you talk about is you don't have to, you actually are out of the market, but you don't have to give up the opportunity for the gains of the market because of some of today's financial innovations. But what you do get to give up is loss. And in this new book that I talked about, there's actually one of the chapters, one of the myths that we sort of alluded to before. I don't know if it's exactly how I titled it, but I think it's myth number 2. You have to take big risks to make big gains. And what my point in that chapter is it's more important to protect against loss than it is to swing for the fences and go for the big gains. You will do better in the long term, especially if you're at a point where you have accumulated most or all of your retirement dollars. Why would you put it at risk? Don't stop. At least make sure you don't take losses. And I cannot stress that enough. Matter of fact, Dave, I'm going to go out on another limb here and say something that I don't usually share on a radio, but this is me personally. I'm not recommending this for your clients. I'm just telling you this is how strongly I feel. I have no money in the market, not one penny right now.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely positively with you. So I'm gonna go on to another question here because you've brought it up, and my wording is these things are based on the market. You're not in it. So how can this be based on the market and not lose money?
You know, I've used the word financial innovation a few times simply to be sort of a general catch-all term. But truly, when you're in an indexed annuity or any indexed product that an insurance company offers, none of your money is actually at risk in the market. And I'll just give you some very rough examples. By the way, another reason to call in and get the book, I have a chapter in the book that's all of 2 pages long that says, how is this possible? How can they do this? And it explains it in very simple terms. But I'll give you an overview for the listeners, but call in, get the book. I'll give you an overview for the listeners, and that is none of the money is actually in the market. Most of it, a vast majority of it, is in a very diversified bond portfolio. Let's say 97%. I'm making up numbers here. 97% of your money goes into a bond portfolio. So if the market goes down, is the bond portfolio affected? No. Bond portfolio is solid and steady, not tied to the market. It's going to produce a set interest rate. Let's say that bond portfolio provides a 5 or 6% interest rate. that interest is going to be provided no matter what the market does. But what they do, so if the market goes down, the bonds are what provide the fact that it doesn't lose money. But if the market goes up, that other 3%, again, making up numbers here, goes to buy what's called options on a particular index. Options are a way to leverage money so that if a market goes a certain way, those options become exponentially more valuable if the market goes in the way of which you are hoping. So since we've got our downside protected, most of these are buying call options. And so if the market goes up, these call options provide gains commensurate, similar to what the market actually did, and that's how the insurance company is able to pass that back to them without taking any risk in the process. Now, one last piece to that. Let's say the market goes down. Well, those call options expire worthless. That 3% was wasted money. It's not really wasted. It's like insurance money. But that 97%, if they're getting 5 or 6% in their portfolio, grows back to 100% plus, so you're always made whole. So the two work together perfectly, wonderfully, in a way that math and science can explain. It's not too good to be true, and it's not smoke and mirrors.
Patrick, that's a great explanation of how insurance companies actually can do this. It's kind of what I tell my clients. Again, you're based on the market for your gains, but the insurance company's off reinvesting your money. All they're doing is buying your money. So that leads me to another great question, Patrick, and you've traveled all across the country and you've written books on this. Can they really do these guaranteed lifetime payments?
Yes. I mean, so much so that I will tell you this, that of all of the different places an individual can put their money, banks offer something called fractional reserve lending, which means only about 20% of the cash that they actually have lent out there or say they have is really in actual cash. That's why if someone makes a run on the bank folds because there's not enough cash. Number one, insurance companies are incredibly safe. They have reserve requirements in many cases that for every dollar that someone has in one of these products, they have to have $1.15 reserved for payout. So they're very, very, very solid, liquid, highly regulated companies in terms of the reserve requirement. But the other thing is it's based on a pool of a law of large numbers. And so they know that, I mean, mortality tables are quite frankly pretty accurate. And now, it's not accurate for any given individual. One person may way outlive the mortality table and one person won't. And those go together to average out that, yes, it is, again, some very good math that these people called actuaries have put together to know exactly what they can offer so that they can indeed, yes, guarantee these payments for someone's entire life, no matter how much they make from that, no matter how long they live.
I agree, Patrick. That's what I tell my clients. I tell them there's a big computer in the sky and these actuaries know when we're going to pass away. I swear they do. So I think locking in your gains with these fixed indexed annuities is critical. What do you think about this feature versus just being in the stock market?
Well, we sort of alluded to that about, what I screamed into the mic, get out. I guess I would ask this again, chapter 1 of Stress-Free Retirement. And so picture yourself back at that same blackjack table, just using analogies. I'm not promoting blackjack. Let me tell you, what I am doing is likening being in the market without protection like gambling. That's what I'm doing because it really is. But if you could sit at a blackjack table and they said to you at this table, if you win, we're going to give you 70% of the amount that you bet. But if you lose, you get to keep your money. So the worst case you can do if you lose a hand is just stay even. And if you win, if you bet $10, we're going to give you $7. How many people would sit at that table, Dave?
I'd sign up rather quickly, I can tell you that. And that's what these annuities are. I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Because here's the problem is no one would ever leave the table. No one else could ever sit down because why would you not sit at a table where the worst you can do is make money?
Right, I agree.
So anyway, yeah, very similar to that. I think, yes, it's very dangerous, folks. I can't stress enough to be in the market. Now, if you're 25 or 30 or 35 or 40 and have, 30 or 40 years of retirement, I'm really not talking to you right now about this. I'm talking to those that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s who have saved a good chunk of money that they don't want to lose.
So, Patrick, I personally believe this, and I'm seeing more and more talk about this. Do you think we've been taught wrong? I believe it's our monthly income, not our, quote, savings number, that makes our retirement go smoothly. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, you said it well, Dave. I really do agree. As a matter of fact, I take it a step further. Even in my book, Stress-Free Retirement, we keep going back to that. The last 2 chapters aren't about money at all. I think retirement is far more than money. It's about living the life and doing the things that many people have dreamed about doing all of their working career. It's about having the time to spend with family and travel and invest in others people's lives. It's not sitting there watching the TV, whether it's a red arrow day or a green arrow day, whether you're happy or sad, based on whether the market's up or down. And really, so what does that mean? It means having the income to know that you can live the lifestyle you want for as long as you want. It really comes down to only that.
Michelle, I think we should go ahead and make that great announcement, because there's nothing better than what you're about to say.
Exactly. So let me go ahead and let everyone know. If you call in 877-GAINS for you, that's 877, the word GAINS, the number 4, the letter U, and make an appointment to sit down with Dave. What you'll also get is a complimentary copy of Patrick Kelly's book, Stress-Free Retirement. You have heard both Dave and Patrick talk about this book, and you can have a copy all for yourself. So you can read it at your leisure, go home and study it. And Dave wants to go ahead and give that to you. No cost, no obligation. 877-GAINS for you. That's the number to call. That's 877, the word GAINS, the number 4, and the letter U. And we're going to continue our conversation with national best-selling author Patrick Kelly coming up next on Retirement Wealth Planning with Dave Mortash.